So almost 20 students have joined.
Uh,
We others can join in later.
this will join later. Yes, yes. Mm, yesterday, yeah, yeah. One of the student has posted. Mm, of course, I also informed you all the 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 scope of the judgment of the Supreme Court, the recent judgment, which was given on 26 July 2021. That is judgment of Justice Dr. Chandrachud and Dr. Justice M.R. Shah, with regard to the interpretation of the provisions of Section 156(3) of the CRPC, read with Section 202. Whether whether the magistrate whether the magistrate is bound to examine the complainant under section 200 before issuing an order under section 156(3). This was the subject matter of the discussion in this Bombay matter, where the Bombay High Court had quashed the proceedings issued by the magistrate, that is investigation order passed by the magistrate under section 156(3), inter alia holding that the learned magistrate at Andheri, judicial magistrate, did not record the statement of the complainant before passing an order under section 156(3). Okay, that was the matter before the court. Whether it is necessary to examine the complainant under section 200, because you all know that here section 200 come into play when a private complaint is filed under section 190. Under 190, there are three circumstances where the magistrate can take cognizance on a complaint received by the magistrate, then on a police report, then thirdly, 1990C, the magistrate suo moto from his own information or information gathered from any other source, the magistrate himself lodges complaint. So there are three situations contemplated here. Now, assuming for the sake of argument in a cognizable offense, of course, the nobody can stop the police officer from registering FIR under 154 if information is lodged, or the police officer suo moto on his own can register the FIR. There is no bar under the CRPC. Now, here is the case. So, when FIR is registered by the police officer, it becomes a police case, isn't it? Then he will start investigation. Then ultimately he will submit the report under section 176 to the magistrate if the complaint discloses the commission of a cognizable offense. And in case the complaint does not disclose the commission of a cognizable offense, under section 169 CRPC, the police officer has the power, and or the jurisdiction, I may say that, he may tell the magistrate there is no evidence to put up the accused to trial. There is a deficiency. There is a deficiency of evidence. So there is no need for the accused to stand for a trial. That opinion he can give the police officer under 163. But the learned magistrate is not bound to accept the report under section 169, nor he can tell the police officer you file the charge sheet. Please note that their powers are very independent. The police officer has a discretion or no discretion to file the charge sheet or not to file the charge sheet. When the magistrate, when the police officer says that I have investigated the crime, in my opinion, the complaint does not disclose the commission of a cognizable offense, and there is no need to put up the charge sheet, and I am therefore granting the accused a bail or taking a surety, and accordingly sending the report to you for your consideration. So, in such a situation, whether the magistrate is bound to accept the report or not to accept the report. If he is accepting the report, naturally, magistrate will take cognizance and the matter will proceed under section 190 subclause B, because cognizance is being taken on a police report. When you open section 190, that will clear to you. In order to appreciate the judgment, I'm just quoting you because I'm taking you back to the provisions here. Under 190, cognizance by the magistrate, subject to the provisions of the chapter number 1, makes it cognizance of the offence upon receiving a complaint of the fact constituting. So this is a report. B, upon a police report. So when the police submits his report, he will take cognizance. Now, when the police report is negative, when the police report says you cannot proceed it. Now see section 169 in that regard, where the release of the accused when evidence is deficient. If upon investigation under this chapter, it appears to the officer in charge of a police station that there is no sufficient evidence or reasonable ground or suspicion to justify the forwarding of the accused to the magistrate, such officer shall, if such person is in custody, release him in executing the bond with or without sureties, as such officer may direct, appear, and when required before a magistrate empowered to take cognizance if the offence on a police report and try the accused or commit him to a trial. So 169 report says that here evidence is not sufficient to proceed. Now the law says that when the police officer submits report, the magistrate cannot ask him to file the charge sheet under 173. The 173 does not postulate such a situation. But definitely the magistrate has power to take cognizance suo moto. Suppose if he disagrees with the police officer, when he disagrees and he has a suspicion that the police officer is deliberately suppressing certain fact, he is trying to shield some of the accused person. When such a report is filed, suppose under 169 by the police officer, your client may be a victim. What will you do? You will oppose the closure report. उसको बोलते हैं बी summary भी बोलते हैं महाराष्ट्र के अंदर. Every police manual has got, when such a summary, B summary report is filed for closure, the complainant has a right to file application called protest application. क्या बोलते हैं इनको? A protest application can be filed to the magistrate. The magistrate will, after perusing the police report under section 169, read with the police diary under section 172, and also the protest application, the magistrate may disagree with the police officer. I am not accepting your report. He will, in that event, he will take cognizance under 190 subclause 3. 190 खोलिए. Cognizance of the offence. See, upon information received from any person. Now here the victim is giving a more detail other than the police officer. See that in C, police officer is excluded. When it comes to 190B, police officer's report is considered. When the police officer is filing a report which is disclosing no offence, the magistrate is not bound to accept. He will exclude the police report. Or upon his own knowledge. Upon own knowledge means the judicial magistrate has perused the report of the police officer under section 169, as well as he has perused the remand application which was earlier filed. He will also peruse the case diary under 172. Then on his own information, on his own knowledge, he will register a case. When he registered a case, the Supreme Court says in one of the old judgment, which I will also want to take out, which judgment has been probably overlooked by the three-bench judgment in the Supreme Court in Devarpalli's case, the two-bench judgment of Justice Hidayatullah and um, yes. Yes, I have sent you the judgment. Please see the judgment AIR 1968 Supreme Court, page number 117. Party's name I showed you, Abhinandan Jha versus Dinesh Mishra. Got it here? Dara kholiye, before discussing judgment of Justice Chandrachud, and I will be discussing this judgment to you. This is a very important judgment, which see the last judgment which I have given you, Abhinandan Jha versus Justice Hidayatullah. Now I will just read the ratio here. Now the ratio, it said that police officer submitting report under 169 and no case made out for sending the accused for trial. Magistrate has no power to call upon the police to submit charge sheet. Magistrate, however, disagrees, can take cognizance under 190C, or he may further order investigation under 156(3). The Supreme Court is overruling three judgments of Bombay High Court, as well as Patna High Court, as well as the other high courts. Now here is the case. It's a case, I will just give a brief. Now this case I would like to discuss with you when I am discussing maybe the judgment of Devarpalli's case. So at the moment I will switch back here. This is the power here. So the attention of the court in Devarpalli was not drawn to 156(3), will come here. So 156(3) is coming in the investigation power of the police officer. You take it back under section 156(3), as you know that here, that is coming in chapter number 12. Please note the chapter 12 dealing with the information to the police and the power of investigation. So all know that here. Now whereas when you open chapter 15, that is section 200. 200 speaks of a private complaint which is filed under section 190 clause A. Clause A says that the cognizance by magistrate upon receiving a complaint of fact which constituting such offense. So, for example, a first information report was lodged to police, he has not taken for A reason, B reason. It's a warrant triable case for more than 2 years. So you have lodged a private complaint. In the private complaint, the magistrate adopts 3-4 powers here, not one. In the first instance, he will examine the complainant. See that here, section 200 mein, the magistrate taking cognizance. Cognizance means power to try. Cognizance of an offense. On complaint shall examine on oath. So examination of the complainant is a must when taking cognizance. When a judge takes cognizance, magistrate, when he has decided to issue process upon the accused. When he doesn't take cognizance, he will dismiss the complaint or he will order police investigation or inquiry. Now, what is mandatory there? When he is taking cognizance, he is supposed to, it is mandatory for him to examine the complainant and witnesses if present. And substance of the examination reduced in writing and shall sign witnesses. So this is one course adopted. Now, when examination, when he is not, this is called a cognizant stage. Now, when he is not taking cognizance, then the learned magistrate come back to 201. 201, no, more 202, sorry. Postponement of issue of process. So when he is taking cognizance under 200, he will issue, if he is satisfied, he will issue process under section 204. Please read it. Immediately after 200, first paragraph ke baad, when the learned magistrate is satisfied, after examination of the complainant and the witness, he will issue process C204. If upon the opinion of the magistrate taking cognizance of an offence, there is sufficient ground for proceeding and appears to be, then summons as the case as attendance or a warrant case, he may issue warrant or no summons. So when he is taking cognizance, he will issue process, that means call upon the accused to remain present on the next date of hearing and answer the charges, allegation as to why action against him cannot be taken. So because magistrate is satisfied. Now when the magistrate is not satisfied, even after examination, he has some doubts. Now in such a situation, come to 202. Any magistrate on receipt of a complaint of an offence of which is authorized to take cognizance or which has been made over to him under 192. Now, on 192, we learned last time, is a case where the case is judicial magistrate may refer the case from one magistrate to other magistrate. Magistrate of the first class empowered on behalf of the chief magistrate taking cognizance of the offence may make over the case for trial to other magistrate. Okay. So in cases a doubt or in cases where which is made over under 192, may think fit, he shall, in a case where the accused is residing at a place beyond the area in which exercise the judicial discretion, postpone the issue of the process. So despite recording the evidence of the witness and despite recording the evidence of the complainant under 201 in the first paragraph, it is, if the magistrate is not convinced that there is sufficient material to proceed further, he may postpone the issue. Then what he does do after postponing? Then either inquire the case himself, he will make inquiries. He will himself go to the scene of offence. He will, he himself will go to the scene of offence, speak to the people, complainant, witnesses present. He may record statement under section 164 of people who are coming forward, inquiry report. Then next you see, or into the case, or direct investigation to be made by a police officer or such other person. Now here also, the magistrate has the discretion to start investigation. Now this is not an investigation under 156. Please note that 156 investigation is called pre-cognizance investigation. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Please open section 156(3). Any magistrate empowered under 190, no sooner the complaint is filed, may order investigation. Now this investigation is ordered at a pre-cognizant stage. That means when evidence of the complainant is not recorded and without recording the evidence of the witnesses present. Please note that. I will explain this procedure here. Whereas the investigation which is ordered under 202, it is known as post-cognizant stage. Why it is called post-cognizant stage? It is a stage where the learned magistrate has initially examined the witnesses and the complainant under 200 first paragraph, but he was not convinced about the case of the complainant. He is still in doubt whether to admit the case or not to admit, mean whether to issue process or not. And he is also not sure whether to dismiss the case or not to dismiss the case. So the learned magistrate is passing, he is still unable to decide what should be the next course of action. Now, with a view to pass a judicial order, a proper judicial order, the learned magistrate, who has partly taken cognizance, namely examined the witnesses and the complainant, he will say that to be more sure of the matter, I will myself investigate, I will myself inquire into the matter, because inquiries are always by magistrate, not by police officer. Or I may delegate the matter to the police officer for investigation or any other person. See, please note that here, there are two types of person, two investigations are contemplated. One investigation which he may give it to the local police station or any other police station, or he may order investigation by a retired police officer. Or he may say that a private detective may also do investigation. When investigation under section 202 is granted, see that here the police officer or detective, he does not have right to arrest. See that? One I am giving you that here. Sub clause 3 check karo aap. 202 sub clause 3. If an investigation under subsection 1 is made by a person not being a police officer, he shall have the investigation all powers conferred by this court on an officer in charge of a police station, except the power to arrest without warrant. Because you know that under the scheme of the CRPC, under section 39, a private citizen also has to report to the police, has the right to arrest the accused, isn't it? Under section 43, arrest by private person. Under section 30, when you see under section 39, public to give information of the offense. So the magistrate under section 202 may direct that even a private citizen or some retired police officer or some well-respected citizen of the locality or a social service, a social worker of the locality may also investigate, but those people cannot arrest, do not have power to arrest. What limited power to arrest? In case the offense is committed in their presence, they can take the accused to police station. Now, in this regard, you should know the meaning of investigation, which was also skipped the attention of the bench in Devarpalli's case. I will come to know that. Section 2 HPIA. Now, definition of investigation. Investigation include all proceedings under this court for the collection of evidence conducted by a police officer or by any person other than a magistrate who is authorized by magistrate in this behalf. So investigation definition includes in its sweep, it says investigation can be conducted by a police officer or by a person authorized by magistrate. For example, under 202 padhe aapne. But magistrate himself is excluded. The magistrate does not do investigation. What the magistrate do? Inquiry. Huh? Please read the definition of inquiry, section 2G. Inquiry means every inquiry other than a trial conducted under this code by the magistrate or a court. So inquiries are conducted by the magistrates or court. It may be a civil court. It might be a sessions court. Judicial magistrate first class, second class. But it does not say judicial magistrate. It is also possible executive magistrate may conduct the inquiry. A special magistrate may conduct the inquiry. But the police officer is not delegated with the power to hold inquiry. Similarly, the magistrates are not empowered, authorized to conduct investigation. This you must know that. Huh? So according to me, one of the judgment before the Supreme Court in 3-bench judgment, where Devaparli's judgment, the attention of the Supreme Court was skipped in this regard. That is why the bench of Justice Nariman's bench recently in 2019, dealing with the Gujarat case I will discuss, they said that we are not going to rely upon the erroneous interpretation of law by the Devarpalli's bench, 3-bench judgment, when it says that here, when it's said here, investigation by a police officer under 156(3) is a post cognizant stage, and once it is ordered, the magistrate cannot go back into it. That submission has not been, that legal position has not been approved and accepted by the bench of Justice Nariman. I will talk to you about it, and there is an article written by Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani about it. I will discuss both of it after reading this and first pointing out the judgment of Justice Chandrachud and Justice M.R. Shah given in the last month here. Okay, so you understood here from the scope of section 190, the 190 and 200. Under 190, there are 3 steps, there are 3 types of cognizance which can be taken. But the magistrate takes cognizance on a complaint, then on a police report, then on his own motion. 190 mein A, B, C. Then under 192, from one magistrate to another transfer take place. Then section 200 says that when application is filed a private complaint under 190 subclause B, the magistrate can examine the complainant and the witnesses and directly take cognizance and issue process. But in case the magistrate doesn't want to do this option, the second option for him is he will conduct an inquiry himself, number 1, or number 2, he will order investigation by the police officer. But that investigation under 202 is not akin to the investigation under section 156(3), which is totally independent. Please note that. When a magistrate is, the judicial magistrate, when you made the application, he straightaway says that I am ordering investigation under 156(3), your entire complaint is disposed of. Nothing remains. Because the magistrate will not keep the matter surviving. Please note that. Those of you appearing before the criminal courts in Bombay who are working with seniors, you will come to know that here. The moment an application, the moment a private complaint is filed, your prayers may be more in the application. You may take up the plea that this honorable court be pleased to issue a warrant, that this honorable court be pleased to issue a process, that this honorable court be pleased to take cognizance, that this honorable court be pleased to start investigation. 4 or 5 prayer rakhenge. If the magistrate chooses a course under 156(3), your entire application will be disposed of. It will not remain. But if the magistrate says that here, I am invoking section 200, examining the witnesses and the complainant, then he will either issue process under 204, complainant, your application will be alive, number one, or if he says that I am conducting further investigation by the police. So that investigation by the police under 202 is akin to, is an inquiry by the magistrate, or an investigation by a private gentleman. So he will wait for the report. He will not dispose of the matter. He will keep the application. And after perusing their report, after perusing the police investigation under 202, or the report of the private detective under 202, or the inquiry of the magistrate himself under 202, he may take further steps. Namely, either he will issue process if he is satisfied, or he will dismiss the complaint under section 203. Please note that under 203, there is no question of calling the accused at this stage. See, to dismissal of a complaint. If after considering the statements on oath, if any, that is on oath he has recorded the statement under 202, first paragraph of the complainant and of the witnesses, and the result of the inquiry. So inquiry conducted by the magistrate under 202, then or investigation if any under 202. Please note that this investigation under 202 is not the investigation under 156.3. This is a different investigation. Now investigation under 202 is much more weak, is weaker, whereas the police officer doesn't enjoy much power, whereas a power under 156.3, the police officer enjoys power of arresting, conducting. Here under 202, for each everything he has to take advice of the magistrate. 202. The magistrate is of the opinion that there is no sufficient ground for proceeding, he shall dismiss the complaint. And in such a case, he shall briefly record the reason. So it is not obligatory upon the magistrate that I will issue notice to the accused, I will give his say. Like in civil cases, you do not do that. Like accused also cannot file a caveat. In criminal cases, there is no caveat. Though under the Code of Civil Procedure, section 148A says, no ex parte order of injunction, no receiver, no commissioner, no interlocutory orders can be passed by the civil court in any suit that may be filed against the caveator, proposed defendant, or in a pending suit against the defendant without due notice under section 148A of the Code of Civil Procedure Code. Please note that it is mandatory, and after filing the validity of the caveat under the CPC under 148A is how many days? 90 days. 90 days, but there are CRPC ke andar there is no caveat. Whereas the Supreme Court rule recognized the rule of caveat even in criminal matters. But now the Bombay High Court doesn't have any rules for a caveat in criminal cases, nor the CRPC recognize any caveat. Kindly note that if an examination mein question puchega, can accused file a caveat in before a magistrate court? The answer is no. In the CRPC, there is no provision for caveat. In the CRPC, there is no provision for review. Review of the order. There is no provision for setting aside the order. There is no provision like order under Order 9, Rule 13. The magistrate cannot recall. These are all things which you should know in comparison here. That is why it is here. So the magistrate is not under obligation. Whereas a civil case, when a plaint is lodged by the plaintiff, normally the civil judge will not dismiss the plaint. Plaint file karne ke baad, defendant is issued service, isn't it? Under Order 5 of the Code of Civil Procedure, read with section 26 and 27 mein aap padhe aapne, writ of summons to be served upon the defendant. It is only when writ of summons served, the defendant will appear and can take out application under Order 6, Rule 17 for rejection of the plaint, and if he finds that there is no cause of action, or before the filing of the, in case it is a, in the civil case, one advantage is there. The plaintiff, the defendant has come to know, relations between the plaintiff and defendant are strained at a stage of ensuing correspondence. So as a lawyer, you come to know that. You may tell the client that here, that your possession is in danger, they are disputing your possession, they are likely to dispossess you without following the due process of law, they are raising a false contention, they are in possession. According to me, you better file a civil suit and get for an injunction. हाँ? अगर करस्पॉन्डेंट से आपको लगा यू आर फॉर डिफेंडेंट, आप क्या एडवाइस करेंगे आपके क्लाइंट को? प्लीज फाइल ए केविएट इमीडिएटली. File a caveat, they might dispossess you under the garb of injunction, they will get a police and gunda उठा के फेंक देंगे आपको. So get a caveat order registered. Why? No ex parte order should be passed by the honorable court in any suit or application that may be filed by the plaintiff, by the proposed plaintiff or plaintiff, even if he has not filed the suit, under order 39 rule 12 CPC, or under order 40 CPC for appointing a receiver, or under section under the provision supplemental powers for appointment of receiver, or attachment of property under order 38 rule 5 CPC, or any order appointing a commissioner under order 26, appointing any interlocutory order should not be passed without first giving you notice, 48 hours notice. That is 148A. जरा खोलो 148, ये बताता हूँ आपको. It's very important. There is no provision for caveat in the CRPC. There are CPC खोलो 148 here. Hmm, 148A. Right to lodge a caveat where an application is expected to be made or has been made. Expected to be made mean in a proposed suit which is likely to be filed, or has been made in a pending suit. Even in a pending suit, you can lodge a caveat. But even if you're apprehending that tomorrow he is likely to file a suit against you, maybe for eviction, maybe for declaration, whatever civil suit may be, some interim orders are likely to be obtained against you behind your back surreptitiously without pointing out to the court the relevant fact, the true facts. Then in a suit or proceeding instituted. Suit or proceeding mean maybe in a suit, appeal, revision, civil court में जो भी proceeding होते हैं. You can lodge a caveat in the trial court. You can lodge a caveat in the appeal. Suppose in the trial court you have succeeded, other side likely to file appeal against you and obtain some stay of the order. So lodge a caveat in the appeal court that the appeal may not be admitted without giving notice to you. No interim orders be passed without notice to you. That the revision application under 115 CPC may not be admitted without giving notice to you. So you can lodge it, institute it, or about to be instituted in the court. Any person claiming right to appear before the court on the hearing of the application may lodge a caveat in that respect. Any person likely to be affected. If there are 10 people out of 10, suit is filed against one, and suppose representative capacity के suit under order 1 rule 8 में, maybe 100 people are likely to be affected. Isn't it? So any one of them can file it here. Now where the caveat has been lodged, the person by whom the caveat is lodged, so and so caveat shall serve. So service of the caveat is mandatory. That guidelines you remember करें. Now even orders पे check करेंगे आप. caveat है इसके अंदर. There is a relevant order, Bombay का amendment check करेंगे, which is very important. Check, can you point out to me anybody the relevant order in the CPC? मिला आपको? ऑर्डर्स में भी है एक केविएट. Can anybody lay their hand? It is order 40, appeal in mortgage suit, appeal in Supreme Court, reference, application. There is a specific order in that regard which I would like to point out to you. Letters patent. बॉम्बे अमेंडमेंट है, चेक कीजिए इसके अंदर है. प्लीज चेक करो. None of you can lay your hand.
Trying to find but could not.
I will lay my hand and tell you because I remember it. I have done it here. Whether my CPC has got now, whether you should require a Bombay publication. Only Bombay publication will give you the caveat. Out of 41 में check करो, 41A होगा. I'm sorry. A check करो. Letters patent. Appeals from subordinate court. I will point out to you at the relevant time. Maybe I do not have the correct copy of the CPC with covering Bombay Amendment, which covers Bombay Amendment will give you. We can lay behind. So, in sum and substance, what I wish to say is that here, the Criminal Procedure Code, the learned magistrate is under no obligation. I will point out to you that in the course of the day, maybe tomorrow. While exercising, while passing an order under section 203 in CRPC, he need not give, he need not call upon the accused. Why trouble the accused? Accused will only be summoned when he is taking cognizance under 204. So, from what we read, section 156.3, section 190 and 200, that 156.3 are independent proceeding. Please note that. In the light of this, when it is independent proceeding, it is not obligatory because the magistrate need not record the evidence of the complainant nor examine. Collection of the evidence is the department of the police. Why should the magistrate take pains? The magistrate will only admit the case, issue presses when he is 100% confident the case is made out. Why police investigation is given? Collection of the evidence. The magistrate has no knowledge and the complaint is not correctly drafted. More material is not given. So evidence has to come on record. Now, in the light of this, let us discuss the judgment of the Bombay High Court, which went, of judgment of Justice Chandrachud. What happened? The judgment of the Justice Chandrachud, that is Supreme Court, 26 July 2021, Supreme Bhivandi Vada Minor Infrastructure versus State of Maharashtra. Now, this is a matter which went to Supreme Court, challenging the anticipatory bail application. I will tell you why the anticipatory bail application was challenged. The Bombay High Court, because it appears the magistrate in the Andheri court, while took cognizance of a complaint, private complaint, which was filed. When in a complaint file, the learned magistrate The learned magistrate issued order under section 153, 156(3). समझे ना आप? The accused took up the plea that year. Criminal proceedings are liable to be quashed because the learned magistrate has not recorded evidence of the witnesses and complainant and straight away passed an order under 156(3), which is not correct. That is what the contention. And that is the High Court. Let us see. I would like to read the judgment, what the Supreme Court says following other one. Please open the judgment of Bombay High Court. Yeah. What is the time now?
7:21 p.m., sir.
Yeah, I will discuss, complete the judgment. Other judgment will take a break after this. Okay. Now open this judgment. Judgment. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. B1D Wala's judgment. Yes. It's a very nice judgment. Yeah. Let it open. Is opening. Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. Super B1D Vada Minor Infrastructure Company. Judgment dated. Judgment is given. They see, Dr. Chandra. The batch of 4 appeals involve a similar issue, and we are hearing together, and so and so. Details of the application. The facts are starting from the para number 3. The order passed by the High Court above application under section 438, that is anticipatory bail application, has been questioned by the complainant in the appeal arising out of 2 special leave petition under 136 of the Constitution of India in a single judge. So this is arising from the order granting anticipatory bail. Yeah, next. Para number 4. The accused person to whom anticipatory bail been granted in the first place are the accused so and so. I won't be reading the entire name. Granted anticipatory bail by session court, then so and so person. Yeah. The appellant in the company incorporated so and so appellant company. The 4 accused persons were impleaded in the second respondent in the so and so. It was employed. I won't be reading the entire fact, but I'll connect you to the facts. Yeah. Then the complaint filed was a cheating misappropriation against the company who had not distributed amount to the farmers. Because the lands of the farmers are taken away in Wada. The government wanted to distribute and appointed the complainant, accused person as officers to distribute it. When distribution has not taken place, misappropriation, teaching, fraud has taken place, a complaint was filed before the Andheri court. See that here? Yes. Before the Andheri court, Mumbai, under section, the sections are maintained here. Yes. I'm coming. Then when the order, para number 5 check karo, the appellant is a company, then bypassing so and so company. The 4 accused were impleaded in the respondent in the appeals, engaging so and so in the capacity of a general manager. They were all big officers of a company. The appellant filed, para number 6, the appellant filed a complaint with the Powai police station, Mumbai, following discovered fraud, thereafter filed a complaint before the magistrates court. Now, on para number 7, the Metropolitan Magistrates 66 Court passed an order under section 156(3) directing police to investigate into the complaint for convenience of the reference, the order of the magistrate. So the order of the magistrate I am reading. Peruse the complaint filed by the complainant, Mrs. Supreme B1D Vada Minor, through authorized signatory so and so, Mr. Advocate so and so. Peruse the document, place on record. It is alleged by the complainant that the accused person, in collusion with each other, prepared false bogus document in respect of the land situate for learning, and VADA by B1D. So and so construction company induce complainant to part with pay amount to the accused number 3 to 9, showing them to the landowners. In further allege that complainant that accused have prepared fraudulent report and used the forged document, genuine considering the nature of the allegation in support of the alleged offense, which is cognizable in the nature, investigation is required in the matter. Accordingly, I pass the following order. Number one, present matter be sent to investigation to Powai police station. Number two, concerned police station is hereby directed to investigate the matter under 156(3) CRPC and file the report to the earliest. Number three, there is only, this is the only prayer to set the matter investigation, hence treated as miscellaneous application. Accordingly, it is disposed of. So when the order is passed under 156(3), the magistrate does not keep it pending or dispose kar dete. Final ho gaya, okay? So it is the police to collect the evidence in the matter now. Now let us see. This is one stage because the accused persons have cheated the farmers. Their lands were shown somebody else. There are bogus documents were created under 467 and cheating 420 and misappropriation of the amount 477A. These are the serious offenses. Now the offenses you will find here, alleged offenses under 418, that is cheating mein aa gaya, 419, impersonation, 420, 405, breach of trust, 467, fabrication, 468, forgery, 478, falsification of account, 474, again, falsification with intention to deceive, and 120B is conspiracy, 34 is the common intention. So this is all offenses under the IPC. See, 156(3) means the police officer has the right to investigate and also arrest the accused person. You know that here. Yeah. Now this is not an order under 202. Please note that. This is an order passed under 156(3). This is called pre-cognizant stage. The magistrate has not taken cognizance. The substance of the allegation is that the accused did not hand over checks due to the farmers and their lands over the project and got the check released in the name and thereby defrauded the company and misappropriated the fund. It has alleged so. This is the main allegation. I won't come into it. Then what do the accused do that here? Then paragraph number 10 mein aa jaiye. Two of the accused FIR moved the court of session for grant of anticipatory bail. So normally when a police officer is directed to investigate, so you know, following the judgment of the Supreme Court in the Dalita Kumari's case, the police officer either has to hold a preliminary inquiry to be satisfied whether the cognizable offense or it is a family dispute or business company, he will issue a notice under 41A. Please note that. 41A notice is normally issued in such matters by the police officer to come and record the statement under 161. Now, when such a notice is given by the police officer, the accused person goes to Sessions Court under section 438 for anticipatory bail. Paragraph number 38 check करें. So, यहाँ पे Sessions Court is granting anticipatory bail. Mean maybe conditions must have been imposed. The police officer not to arrest him since the FIR is registered for investigation. And normally when 156(3) order is passed, the magistrate is enjoined with a duty to register FIR following the judgment of the Supreme Court in Dalita Kumari's case. So Dalita Kumari, I have sent it to you earlier, but one day, maybe in a couple of days, after 2, 3, 4 days, we'll discuss the detailed judgment when necessary. It is very important judgment. Now, so he obtains, the accused person goes to Sessions Court, obtains the anticipatory bail. Now come to paragraph number 11. On 24 January, the High Court also granted interim protection against A1, some of the accused person. Some of the accused also went to High Court because when the complaint is registered by the Andheri police station under 438 CRPC, you know, both Sessions Court and High Court, they have concurrent power to grant in anticipatory bail. but anticipatory bail cannot be granted by magistrates. Please note that. So the High Court, while granting the order, has recorded some observation. See the observation. Paragraph number 12 में the record indicate that complainant Mr. Uday Joshi has filed a complaint bearing number so and so in the court of the Metropolitan Magistrate 66 Court Andheri, Mumbai. Under section 156(3) has been passed by the concerned court. In pursuance of the said order, the present criminal application has been registered by the Powai police station. The police are seeking custody of the applicant in the said crime, which is registered in pursuance of the order of the magistrate under 156(3), as noted earlier. The record indicate that the complainant filed by the first complainant was supported with affidavit Illitet 622016 and the mandate of the law as contemplated under 200 CPC, that is, complainant has not been examined on oath by the concerned magistrate. This is very important. This is where the High Court has made the mistake, and I will tell Bombay High Court has committed an error of law on this point. The next point. The basic tenet of law as contemplated under section 200 CRPC has not been complied with. That is what the Bombay High Court says. It raises a serious question of doubt about the validity of the issuance of the order passed under 156(3) of the CRPC by the concerned magistrate, apart from the fact that, as has been held by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Siddharam Singappa versus so and so, AIR 2011, Supreme Court, and a peculiar paragraph, so and so, that the accusation have been made against the applicant only with the object of injuring and humiliating the applicant by the arresting him. So the complainant is in appeal before the court. So the High Court has made this observation stating that the learned magistrate has issued a blanket order under 156(3) without examining the complainant or the witnesses, which is not a correct view of the Bombay High Court, which also is challenged in this court here before the Supreme Court. Let us see. Now, the complainant is in appeal before the court. So an appeal is filed before the Supreme Court against the order of the High Court because High Court has quashed the proceeding, holding that no inquiry held under 136. Now, notice issued inter alia in pursuance of the order issued both with the state of Maharashtra and the accused have entered the appearance. We have heard the counsel. On behalf of the appellant, it has been urged by Mr. Dinesh Tiwari and Mr. So-and-so that, number one, the High Court granting anticipatory bail failed even to prima facie notice the nature and gravity of the allegation against the accused. B, number two, magistrate passed the order under 156(3) CRPC directing complainant to investigate and recording FIR so-and-so. Number three, the order of the High Court proceeds on the basis that the mandate of 200 has not been complied with by the magistrate since the complainant was not examined on oath. That is what the impression. Number four, the High Court has taking the view. The High Court has, in taking the view, failed to notice judgment of this court, which has clarified the legal position that magistrate is justified in ordering investigation before taking cognizance as contemplated under 200 in the nature of the inquiry by the police officer, while magistrate under 202 is distinct from power under 156. So I right now read it to you. Under section 200, for taking cognizance, the magistrate examines the complainant and the witness. But while issuing an order under 153, he need not. He is not there independent proceeding. Now see, then I will not be reading the contrary opinion. Let us see the High Court finding. पैरा नंबर 16 में आ जाइए. Prima facie, the primary basis on which the High Court was allowed the application under 438 is that complaint filed by the informant was supported by affidavit dated 2016. The High Court held that the mandate of 200 CRPC, examination of the complaint on oath, has not been fulfilled by the magistrate. On that basis, held that the raises the serious question about the validity of the order passed under 156.3. There is a serious error in view of the single judge. First and foremost, the magistrate under 156.3, paragraph number 17, was not under challenge before the High Court and attained finality. The High Court was in error in raising a doubt about the correctness of the order under 156.3 passed by the magistrate in the course of the considering complaint filed by the complainant. Secondly, the position in law as set out in the order under the single judge does not accord with the principles which have been consistently enunciated in the decision of this court in the context of chapter 15 of the CRPC, that is section 200 extracted below. I won't be reading the section. Section to record kiya hai, I won't be reading. Please come to paragraph number 18. The provisions have been interpreted in the judgment of the two judges of the Supreme Court in the Suresh Jain versus State of MP. After adverting to the provisions of section 123, Justice Thomas, speaking for the bench, observed, read this is important. The investigation referred to therein is the same investigation. The various steps to be adopted for it have been elaborated in chapter 12 of the code. Chapter 12 means investigation, 154 onwards, 156.3. Such investigation would start with making entry in the book to be kept by an officer in charge of a police station. The substance of the information relating to commission of the cognizable offense, the investigation started thereafter can end up only with the report filed by the police indicated under 173. The investigation contemplated in the chapter can be commenced by the police even without the order of a magistrate. Underline this word. But that does not mean when the magistrate orders investigation under 156.3, it would be a different kind of investigation. Such investigation must end up only with the report contemplated under 173 of the code, final report. But the significant point to be noted is when the magistrate orders investigation under chapter 12, that is section 156.3, he does not so before he takes cognizance of the offense. Sanjana, cognizance it doesn't take. Cognizance is taken only 200. So this is one. Then let us give. Then next judgment you see that in Anju Chaudhary versus State of Uttar Pradesh, Justice Swatantra Kumar for the bench noted that section 156 primarily deals with the power of the police officer investigating cognizable case, while passing 156.3, the magistrate does not take cognizance. Please note that. Underline the word, he does not take cognizance. The order of the magistrate is in the nature of a peremptory reminder or intimation to the police to exercise their primary duty and power of investigation. The court held that the power of the magistrate under 156.3 is not affected by the provisions of 202 and observed, see paragraph, internal para 40. Still, another situation that can possibly arise is the magistrate is competent to treat even a complaint term as an application and pass an order under section 156.3. But where it takes cognizance, there it would have to be treated as a regular complaint to be tried in accordance with the provisions of 200 onward, failing which section in the chapter 15, that is chapter 15 means starting with section 200 of the code. There also the magistrate is vested with the power to direct investigation to be made by the police officer or such other person as he thinks fit for the purpose of deciding whether or not there is a sufficient ground for proceeding. This power is restricted and is not wide as power under 153. So the power of investigation under 202 is not very wide. Whereas under 156.3 is very wide. The power of the magistrate under section 156.3 to order investigation by the police has not been touched and affected by power under section 202 because these powers are exercised even before the cognizance is taken. That is before examining the witnesses. In other words, 202 would apply only to cases where the magistrate has taken cognizance. Mean he has recorded the evidence of the complainant and the witnesses and chooses to inquire into complaint either himself or through any agency. But there may be a circumstances where the magistrate, before taking cognizance of the himself, chooses to order pure and simple investigation under 156.3. So 156.3 is a total pure and simple investigation. Their cases would fall under this view has been taken by the bench of this court in Ramesh Bhai Pandurang so and so, state of Gujarat so and so. Then in the court in Srinivas Gunduluru versus SPC Consent Company in the matter. So this is the view taken here. In Srinivas Gunduluru, it is a paragraph number 23. See, to proceed under 153 CRPC, what is required is a bare reading of the complaint and closes and discloses cognizable offence. The magistrate, instead of applying his mind to the complaint for deciding whether or not there is sufficient ground, may direct the police investigation. But where it takes cognizance and decide as to whether or not there exists the ground for proceeding any further, then it is the case squarely falling under chapter 15 of the CRPC. See, the High Court has evidently not been apprised of the above judgment or it would have proceeded to formulate. So the counsels have not pointed out these two judgments, or even the High Court judge was also not aware of this, unfortunately. Then paragraph number 23, Chekaro. The High Court, in granting anticipatory bail to accused so-and-so challenging the order, has evidently lost sight of the nature of the gravity of the. Then the court in Sushil Kumar's case, they are given. Then finally, what the court said that there are serious allegations against the so-and-so. Then see, in paragraph 1, we therefore accordingly, although appeal, set aside the order, grant the appeal. That means, for passing an order under section 156.3, magistrate doesn't take cognizance here. So in this slide here, they have relied upon one judgment of the Supreme Court I will discuss tomorrow. After the break, Gunduluru's case, that is a very important judgment. I will read it here. So, in sum and substance, the Bombay High Court committed an error of law, stating that the Andheri High Court magistrate had correctly passed the order. Under 156.3, chapter is closed. Then the police should take over. The High Court could not have said that the order passed by the magistrate under 156.3 is bad because the magistrate has not examined the complainant or witnesses. There is no obligation to examine the complainant or witnesses when the magistrate is choosing to pass order under 156.3, which is a pure investigation, which is the prerogative on the domain of the police officer, and magistrate cannot interfere at this stage. With great respect, the role of the magistrate comes into play only when he takes cognizance under 202, when he records evidence or he delegates a matter for inquiry or investigation under 202. But when it comes to investigation under 156.3, he is under no obligation to examine any witnesses. Okay, now this is the, anybody want to ask me question, close it, then we'll come for the next topic after the tea break after 10 minutes. Anybody want to ask me any question? Have you understood this, all of you, the concept?
Good evening, sir. Sir, under 41, can a police constable also arrest? Because it just says
police constable, police officer, if the powers must have been delegated. When an ordinary citizen can do, why not police officer? Why not the police constable?
Yes, sir. So if he arrests, that will come under 39 or what?
39. See that
Acha.
under the
Okay.
provisions of 39, even a police, ordinary citizen can arrest.
Okay.
समझे ना?
Okay, sir. Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
but whether the legal or illegal, you will decide it. He has to refer to the senior man. But you
Yeah,
did you
the officer in charge. But sir, here in
did you
41 and
understand?
151 also, it is not clearly given ki officer in charge or just the police officer. So I just wanted the
Okay, you have to
clarification.
see the police manual. Huh? There's a
Uh,
separate police manual because I told you yesterday, police is a state subject. In pursuance of being a state subject, police has framed police rules. Huh? There is a police rules, prison rules. There's a Bombay Police Act in Maharashtra, Mumbai Police Act. पढ़े आपने कभी?
right, sir. No,
हाँ,
not yet, sir.
CRPC is a general law. जनरल लॉ को इतनी तकलीफ देने का नहीं. उसके साथ में there are many other special laws connected. We have to read it. Now, what I
Okay.
wanted to understand here in this from today's lecture, pre-cognizant stage, post-cognizant stage. Huh? Under section 200 CRPC, there are two stages. One is a pre-cognizant stage, wherein only a blanket order under 156(3) is passed by the magistrate for investigation and chapter is closed. In a pre-cognizant stage, the magistrate is under no obligation to record evidence of the parties nor the evidence of the witnesses. But in post-cognizant stage, which is under 202, the magistrate, after recording the evidence of the complaint witnesses, postpones the issue for the purpose of delegating the matter for inquiry or for the investigation by another police officer or maybe a private citizen. So the investigation that may be ordered under 202, they are known as post-cognizant stage. Yeah? I'm sorry, this is something is gone. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, you can hear me? You all can hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
So, pre-cognizance, post-cognizance is clear to you in the matter. Then one of the leading judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, the judgment of Justice Chandrachud and M.R. Shah is very clear to you in this regard. Then couple of more judgment on this point I will discuss because this was borrowed, this coin, this expression, pre-cognizant, post-cognizant, from a judgment of the Supreme Court, Devapalli Lakshminarayan Reddy's case, that is AIR 1976 Supreme Court. I will send it, page number 1672. Devarpalli. This judgment of Devarpalli was some of the observations. That is, a magistrate having invoked the power of appointing, passing order 156(2) cannot again go back and redo, has not been approved by the bench of Justice Nariman's bench, which I will discuss after the break. Okay. Anybody want to ask me any question before we now take a break? Anybody has any question, or you want to keep the questions after the break?
Sir, after the break.
After the break. Okay. We'll meet after 10-15 minutes. Okay. To you. Thank you.